Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Doors podcast. I am here with the fabulous Claudia. Claudia moved to Australia from Sweden 6 years ago and has been a passionate advocate for diversity, inclusion, and collaboration ever since. She believes the best outcomes come from embracing different perspectives, and she loves being part of the Melbourne's vibrant community. As a senior data recruitment consultant at Circuit IT, Claudia specializes in helping organizations grow their data and AI teams while guiding professionals on their career journeys. Her understanding of the market and genuine care for people make her a trusted partner in the data and analytics space. Beyond work, Claudia is a dedicated advocate for women in STEM, hosting events, volunteering, and driving initiatives to empower women in data. Known for her vibrant energy, she is sure to bring an engaging and inspiring touch in talk. So, Claudia is a organizer of Beer Ops, co-host of the Data Engineering Meetup, and is the current Seek Award of Recruiter of the Year. Welcome to the podcast, Claudia.
Thank you.
So talk us through the feeling of becoming Recruiter of the Year. That's like a pretty big award.
Yeah, that was a very nice introduction. Very long introduction. I wonder who wrote that. How did it feel? Yeah, very good, very overwhelming, very unexpected.
I mean, you contribute a lot to the community, right? Just from some of the meetups and what I've seen from the AI meetups to Beer Ops to all of these. So, I mean, it must have been a big high of your career because you've been doing this a good few years now.
Yeah, I'm celebrating 3 years at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So it's been a good ride. But I just think last year was pretty hard. Yeah, like for candidates, for our clients, for us. Like I know we suffered many times. I did. And I think it was hard sometimes to think, how do I now deliver value when the economy is at the places at where it's at? And I remember I started the year with really ambitious goals that I did not achieve at all. But I guess those hard times really forced me to think, okay, what can I do different now? And if the traditional way doesn't work, how do I pivot from here? How do I do things differently? And when it all came together, there's just been a few key initiatives or routines and approaches to recruitment that I think was the reason for why it all happened. But to be honest, when it was announced, I dropped my jaw to the floor and I don't think I ever picked it up.
Well, I mean, it's a very prestigious award, so congratulations. And I'm very excited for this talk because we're going to be talking branding and what candidates can do. But have you seen, talking about the shifts in market, has there been much change in terms of like the data AI space? Like, have you seen anything moving or shaking lately?
Yeah, I have. Like starting this year, there's been already a few roles that are geared towards machine learning and AI. Yeah. I think, a few years back, everyone was talking about data science. Everyone wanted to get into it. I think Forbes called it like the sexiest title in the world or something. So there was like a big flow of people coming into this space. But the reality is that a lot of companies, they weren't ready. They weren't ready for AI applications. They're not ready for using AI today. So I think we've always had a very big, since then we've had a big pool of candidates ready to work, want to get into the space, but the organizations needed strong software, strong data engineering, and now we start to see more roles coming. I've placed my first AI engineer ever, which feels really good. Yeah. So it's the beginning.
It's exciting space, isn't it? Like I'm just seeing so much uptake and it's how you leverage it as a tool. Like this is what we had Eden on the talk show last week, and he was saying that how he uses AI is in taking notes of just like, hey, he's going to meet candidates. He's actually got rid of phone call screening because he was like, I just want to meet people, chat with them, pick up on their energy. And what are some of the pitfalls for any of the candidates listening out there? What are some of the common pitfalls when people are applying that you've seen?
Okay, when people are applying for jobs and interviewing, I think what stands out to me is that they are not preparing and they're not personalizing. And it just, if you care about the outcome of your application, then you should care about what you put in for your application. And I think today we see so many hundreds of applications sometimes on jobs, but how many of them are not suitable for the role, in your opinion?
Many.
Many.
Yeah, like too many. And I think people don't over exaggerate what they do. Like an example is, we spoke about this example, but like a Python engineer, you never see Python too much on a resume, but you can see it too less. It's like people don't over exaggerate what they do on their resume. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I think one thing is that all the CVs to me looks the same. I don't know who told the world that every CV needs to be boring. Like, why? I don't understand. But for me, it's like a nice looking CV. It's breathable. It has space. It's easy for me to digest. I want to read it. I want to take part of the information, even if you tell me all the amazing things about you, Alex. And that's exactly what I look for. But you've crammed it into the CV and it's not aligned and the text is a bit, it's not together. It's just, it's not a nice reader experience. Most likely I'm going to spend less time trying to understand what you're trying to tell me. Yeah. So that's super simple, like make it nice.
Yes.
Sorry, I jammed the table. I also think that a resume is a reflection of you. Like you have one shot, you have one document. So what you put in there is a reflection of what you care for. If you put in your achievements as a part of your role, that tells me that you care about performing. It tells me that you care about the outcome. If you don't, that also tells me that maybe you don't care so much. I asked the candidate, someone asked for resume advice. And I said, rather than having a bullet point saying, I attend meetings and collaborate with others, you're not going to get a gold star for that, are you?
No.
Maybe you want to put in your achievements. What value have you delivered in this role? And they're like, I don't know. I got paid.
Wow.
So maybe think about, why are you applying for this role? Why does this matter to you? What's mattered for you in the past? And put that in.
And I think it can go the other way as well, right? Like if you have your achievement, like I was helping a friend, shout out if you're listening to this, Jace, but he had put his achievements 3 times in the resume, like one in the intro, one in like the actual job, and then another one. And I was like, I think this is too much. I'm sure you did other stuff at the work. Tell us who you are. But I like your point about everything being in alignment because it shows that you care. And right now it's like, what can people do on their resume to stick out, or things do you see in a resume where you're like, this is good, I want to chat with this person?
Okay, so I think, chicken or the hen, what came first? No, chicken or the egg?
Yes.
That's a language barrier, but it works. Like, what came first, tech or the problem? The problem came first.
Yeah.
Right. First we had a problem, then we designed a technical tool to help us solve this problem. But your problem in this organization with this technology, it could be approached in many different angles. And I believe that hiring managers today, they aren't looking for people who has experience carrying the tools. I think they're looking for people who approach the problem and have a thinking of questioning things from different angles, bringing in their knowledge and thinking, but what about this? And how do we make sure it fits within this production system? And how do we make sure that in 5 years from now, this is still workable? When I leave, this is still maintainable for the people I leave it to. I think that's what people are looking for. So when people apply with the CV and they have all these fantastic certifications, they just ramble all their tech, but not anything about why that's been important for them. I think they're really missing the point.
That's huge. That's huge. And how does someone get that across?
Include include the technologies that you've worked with and how you've worked with them under each working experience. Like in a resume, at the beginning, everyone has a little info about them. 99% of the people, they write it like no one is going to read them, so no one reads them. It says the same thing. I swear, there must be something. It says the same thing. Rather than sharing something really personal, I have 3 sentences here to tell you a little bit personal about me. You know, use that, take advantage of that. And rather than then summarizing all the tech, which you can use to help out, make sure that that's in your work experience, because many people who are applying for jobs today, they had a colleague once that worked on AWS cloud formation, but they've seen it, so they're going to put it into their CV. But if you put it in under your work experience and you make it really clear how you worked with the tech and when you worked with it and what outcome you've ultimately delivered by using that tool, I think you're nailing it. You're 90% above everyone else.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree, because what I see is that it's the outcomes, but it's the mentality. And that's what people are really buying. Like about 6 years ago, I saw a shift where people are like, I want a product engineer. And a product engineer is probably what you see as well. Like they think of the product, they think of the user. They don't just take literals and I'm going to build this feature. It's like, well, why are we building this feature? And I feel people are being hired for their brain power. It's like, how can you contribute to the product? So on your point, it's like, okay, well, how have you contributed to the product? What have you done? And I mean, I think you can get away in some of the large corporates of staying on that kind of feature and you can keep going like that. But times are changing, tech is changing, people are adopting with AI and innovation. And going to the next step. So they've sent a great CV. They've listened to all your points, Claudia. They've now got an interview. What can people be doing better in an interview?
So many things.
Yeah.
So many things. I think one thing, just following a red thread here, I think we should screw star. Can I say that in this podcast?
Of course you can.
Okay.
You can say what you like.
Okay. I think star is a tool. That's all it is. It's not a way of conversating. Like if I would be sitting here with you, we're having this amazing podcast and you're asking me questions, and in my mind as I'm responding to what you've asked me, but I'm also thinking situation, task, action, result. Like I'm not going to have a good conversation with you and I'm probably going to be a bit off. I'm not going to feel comfortable or natural or genuine, which ultimately blocks our opportunity to build rapport and trust. And at the end of the day, you're going to hire me not really based if I have all the technical skills you described in the job description, but you're going to hire me if you feel like you can trust, like I can do the job that you have. And the only way we can find out is if we're genuine and intentful and present. So I say be present, talk about what's relevant, and prepare for your interview. Like,
I was going to say, and on the point of preparation, what do you like people to prepare? Because I've got obviously my thoughts, but I'd love to hear yours.
I think preparation looks different for different people. For me, before going into an important meeting, I make sure that I bring in my mental space with that, a really nice cup of coffee. I've discovered magics lately. They work. The song Free. I'm free to do what I want to do.
That's a 90s banger.
I got to live in your life. Every time I listen to that, I feel like I can conquer the world. So I listen to that before I go into the meeting because I know that's going to like boost me up. Yeah. Don't jump on a call when you're absolutely stressed and sitting down is like, oh my gosh, because that's going to translate into the conversation. That's just one thing. To prepare, what have you done that may be relevant to the person that you're going to be meeting with, right? It's not about preparing your answers. It's not about preparing a formal structure. Like leave that outside. What can I say that is valuable to you and that might help you understand whether I fit. And something that people do constantly is that they ramble. They just talk and talk and talk. And you ask them a question, and 10 minutes later, you're like, what have you said? I don't know. Do I need to ask this question again? Because I don't think you answered it. Would you agree?
Yes. And I find different roles, people ramble different amounts of time. So there's certain roles that I know if I'm working that, I'm going to hear a lot of random stories and I'm going to have to interject. And I don't like cutting into people, but you have to coach people throughout the process, right? Because our job is to like pick up on social cues, body language, it's emotional intelligence. So you have to coach the candidates through that as well. So you're saying physiologically prepare. So your mental, your excitement, your energy, as well as story preparation. So know where your impact has been, what you did on the project. One of my favorite points is when I've spoke with a candidate and they say we. So they say, oh yeah, we built this, we built that. And when you get a lot more experience, you say, but what did you specifically do? So I'd say to people, definitely don't say we, because I mean, you can say we to start with, but if you're a great A player, you've individually done something very impactful. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. And that's the thing as well. If you always start with we, I think often it is because people feel like they don't want to always say, but I did this and I did that. And it can be quite uncomfortable. But you are not interviewing for a role where they will hire your entire team. So I think it's also important to dare to say, I did this, I contributed this way. And you can always embed it, like you say, starting with, as a team, we achieved this. This was my responsibility. This is what I did with my tasks.
I don't think I've ever had feedback. There's one guy I've heard, and we can talk about him. He was many years ago, but where people say they had too much of a big ego. I think people play so small in interviews often. I mean, it can go the other way, right? If someone just starts talking about how great they are, they don't connect. I think we're all humans. This is what we spoke about last week. You have to connect with humans on a human level.
Yeah, that's true. I think when you're interviewing, right, sometimes you get really disappointed because things didn't go the way, but there's always a reason for that. And even if the job sounds really exciting, the company sounds really exciting, you haven't wasted your time. You meeting with someone and realizing that, hey, we don't really click. That's, congratulations. That's a gift to be given so early in the process as well. Did I answer your question there?
I agree. Yes, I did. You did. And
I did.
you did. Yes, yes.
We did.
Yes, we did. That's brilliant. And what about any parting wisdoms? Like, what would you advise people? Like, right now, there's quite a few candidates out in the market, and that's why I love these conversations, because you're a recruiter of the year. You're contributing to all these community. You see a lot of people. You connect with a lot of people. You've got great clients, and so it's just I love hearing people's wisdom. So, yeah, what would you like to share with people?
It's a good question. What wisdom do I have to share with people? I feel like there's been a few key points that it's been important today, like personalizing, be intentful, ask for help to make sure that that's right, where your values in that process. I think ultimately in today's market where there's so much competition, don't be disencouraged to apply, even if you see hundreds, because like we are uniting on, so many of them aren't actually relevant. So many of them haven't read through the job description and aren't invested into that process, which means that they're most likely not going to get something out of that either. So I think you always have an opportunity to stand out by being yourself. I think if you are also in the job search process, use it with this excitement. You can build a canvas in front of you. It's a white page, and you can do your market research. Instead of just thinking of who are hiring, look at what companies are doing things that I'm really excited about. You take the lead, And then if you put down, say, the 5 or 10 most exciting companies in Australia and why they are exciting to you, then you probably want to learn, okay, how do I get in there? What type of people work there? How do you know? You go and meet them. And that's a great way. You know, we all love coffee in this city. It's a recurring theme in this episode, coffee. So asking someone for a coffee, most people are going to say yes, especially if you're there with genuine intent to learn about their organization and what they're doing moving forward. And through that, you're building valuable relationships. Because many people, I many times say, go and network, go to meetups, build a community around you. I came here without knowing a single person. Recruitment has been the best thing ever because I've gotten to meet so many brilliant people. And I've really come to understand the value of having a network around you that supports you and refers you and champions you. But it's really hard and really outside the comfort zone, and only attending meetups, but not really making use of the people who are there, then you're kind of wasting your time. So what is the wisdom? Be intentful, take lead of your job search opportunity. Don't wait for the recruiter to call you. Once they have a job that suits you, you take charge. You call the recruiter. You tell them what you want. You go to the companies that are exciting to you and you build a network around them. And maybe you will then find out before you even start that it's not for you or that you're perfect for them. But then you know why.
Yes, that's brilliant. There's a lot of great wisdom in that. So thank you very much, Claudia. This has been brilliant. And for everyone listening out there, you know, contact your recruiter, follow up with them. People do actually, they're doing many other things. So just that constant intention that you speak about, it can be a game changer. So yeah, I mean, Magic is a very good coffee as well. I just wanted to add that. I had one today. It was brilliant. So thank you very much for coming on the podcast, Claudia. It's been brilliant to have you on.
Thank you.